What's good, money getters? Tonight, we are bridging the gap. Black women, gay men, and the truth about homophobia and dating. Listen, shoot, am I live? Hold up. Because it says I'm live. Okay, there we go. There we go. There was a slight delay. What's good, money getters? How's everyone doing tonight? Come on in, hit the like button when you come on in. Bridging the gap, Black women, gay men, and the truth about homophobia and dating. This live was inspired by it was actually inspired by a podcast I was watching earlier this week. And basically, the podcaster was really going in on Black women and saying that the podcaster is LGBTQ, okay? And he had a panel show discussing Black women and the gay community and how he feels like Black women are homophobic. Now, that was news to me because I would have thought, I don't know, I just feel like Black women have always been one of gay Black men's biggest allies, right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the chat. But this is my second live. I thank you all for joining my second live tonight. We're going to get into some things, and hopefully by the end of this live, we can all come to a better understanding of one another. I hope that I'm able to get a few members of the LGBTQ family over here and we can have a good discussion tonight about why they feel that Black women are homophobic. Hey, Miss Michi, thanks for coming back. I appreciate you. I got a money getter in the house. What's good, Josh? Thumbs up done already. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love. I really do. Um, just a little housekeeping going on tonight. I do have a super chat goal. Last week I did a super chat goal and I gave a very exciting story time. Was it last Monday or last Sunday evening that I did it? If I do reach my goal, I think we have until the end of the live. I set it for to reach the goal. So if I'm able to reach my goal by the end of the live, then you guys will get another juicy story time. Last week it was real juicy, baby. Hey, Rumi, thanks for tuning in. How are you guys doing tonight? It is Sunday. Are you guys going to work tomorrow? What do you guys have going on tomorrow? Appointments? Hopefully I can get some sleep tonight because I have been up for quite a while. So that's first on the agenda for me is to get some good sleep in. And hopefully, I gotta go rent a car tomorrow since my car is in the shop. So that's what I'll be doing. As well as a lot of little running around, as I always do on Mondays and Wednesdays. But if you haven't done so, please go ahead and hit the like button for me. I appreciate you guys for doing that. We're going to get this show started in a little bit. I just want to give people an opportunity to come on in. And yeah, let me know if you can hear me. One time I was doing a live and I was just on here talking and nobody could hear me. Also, if you guys tonight, oh, let me put the link in. Let me do that before I forget. Let's go ahead and copy that and put it in the Chiz app. Okay. Okay, so there's a super chat. I mean, not the super chat. There's the link to the panel. And I'm pretty cool about letting people come up, especially if I know you from previously. If I don't know you, then I gotta vet you. I don't know. So don't just go clicking that link if you know that you don't know me like that. Okay. So that's what's going on. I will allow people to come up and, give their opinion or engage in, a discussion with me. Um, like I said, I'm hoping that I'm able to get a few members of the LGBTQ family up here so that they can, um, let me know how they feel about the subject, right? And why, and hopefully they can tell me, tell the ladies on the panel and in the chat why they feel that Black women are homophobic. So I have the link to the panel in the chat. Don't click it if you don't know me like that because you will not get up here. Okay. Now I try to do a banner and stuff. I gotta learn this StreamYard stuff. I thought I did it right, but I guess I didn't. Let me see. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure something out. I think I have it. All right. So, everybody, did you hit the like button when you came in? Did everybody say hello? It's always so funny to me when I give away memberships or when somebody gives away memberships and then we can see who's all hiding in the bushes. I always think that. I think it's so funny. Like, I don't know. I would say hi. I don't particularly come to a live and not speak, especially if I know the creator. I don't do that. I don't know. That's just me. So I'm always like bugged out by that. It makes me feel kind of like, I don't know. I won't say it. I won't say it, but it does make me feel away. All right, are you guys ready for an action-packed live tonight? Hey, Deborah Ray. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate that. I think this is going to be a good live tonight. I'm really excited about it. It's something that I've always wanted to do over here with the money getters. I think that this is something that a lot of people will have a lot to say about because it touches on the subject of homophobia, down low relationships, and things of that nature. Now, I was watching a podcast. I think it came on about a couple of days ago. You guys may have seen it. You may know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, put a one in the chat. If you don't even worry about it. But basically, it was a conversation about Black women being homophobic. And so today, I was on TikTok and a woman revealed that she found out her husband was down low, that he was seeing another man. And how she found out was, and I don't know, people make up story times all the time. When I do my story times, I'm keeping it real, but I can't account for what someone else is doing. Right. All I can say is it seemed like it was real, but she was talking about it was this young lady on TikTok, and she was talking about how she is married and she was at the club partying with her siblings, and somebody came up to her and was like, "Are you married to such and such? Well, I've been to your page and I seen your page, and I feel like you are beautiful on the inside and on the outside. So I wanted to tell you this." And he proceeded to show her text messages on a dating app between himself and her husband, right? Are you guys following along? Well, according to this woman, the male showed her um, chats between himself and her husband told this guy, "You look like you taste good." So the woman was just devastated behind it. So that also brought up a lot of conversation in my mind, like, why is it that Black women have an issue, if they have an issue with um, gay men, and why do Black men feel like they have to be down low, right? And why do they? Why are they blaming Black women for being down low? Like, how is that on us? How is that on us? If we marry a man, how is it on us that he wants to be down low? If I'm married to a man, I would automatically assume that he likes women and that he's attracted to women. Why would I have any doubt about that? Hey, mom of three, how are you? Thanks for tuning in with me tonight. This is your second go round. Hey, Alpha, the first one. Thanks for tuning in. Um, yeah, I was just perplexed by that. Like, why? How are Black women? We're getting blamed for everything. How is it that it's our fault if a Black man is on the down low? If anything, we're the victims in that, right? Thank you, Alpha, the first one. Like, how is that our fault? And like I said, I put the link to the panel in the chat. If anybody wants to come up, let me know. Let me know. Or just click the link and I'll see you backstage. And if I know you, I do not have a problem letting you come up. Right. Alpha, the first one, if you're he says or she says, I'm sorry, I can't see your emoticon. It says, that is not cool if your dude is gay. That I'm sorry, I can't see that. Let me see. Okay, wait a minute. Oh my. I'm sorry, I lost the chat. I lost the chat. Do not panic. Don't panic. All right, there we go. That is not your fault. That's not on you. Absolutely. I agree. Like, how could that be on me? How could that be on anyone? Now, I've never had that happen that I know of, right? Because people always suggest, oh, you're probably with someone who is bi or who may be gay and you just don't know it. Well, if I don't know it, what the hell can I do about what I don't know? If I don't know, then I just don't know, right? So I'm not worried about what I don't know. Oh, you said you are a he. I'm sorry, I couldn't really see. And I'm again, like, I understand if no one wants to come up on the panel or whatever, but I would love to hear from someone who is gay. And I would like to hear your feelings on this subject. And I want to know why you feel like Black women are homophobic. This is going to sound very wild. I know it's going to sound wild, but I've always had an affinity for gay men. Do not ask me why. And when I say affinity, like, I've always wanted to be besties with a gay man. Like, I just always felt like gay men were so cool. I didn't want to date a man who wanted to date gay men. And I feel like I have a right to say I don't want to date a man who dates men, right? Just like if a gay man can say he doesn't want to date women, He only wants to date men and he wants to be accepted for that. How can you get mad if I don't want to date a man who likes men? And then you'll hear the whole, well, just because a man is with another man, that doesn't make him gay. Well, what does that make him? And then they make all these different, I don't want to call them excuses, but they make up all these different ways for somebody to be gay and somebody to not be gay. It's a lot. It's really a lot. And I don't know what to think. Everybody be respectful and honest in the chat. Um my first question is, do you think Black women are homophobic or is it deeper than that? Put a 1 in the chat if you feel like Black women are homophobic. Put a 2 in the chat if you disagree. I disagree. Like I said, I've always felt like a connection with gay men. I remember I was very young and I met the first gay man. Now, that was openly gay. That was what at the time they would call them flamingly gay, like very gay. And he would tell me stories of how he used to kick it at the Palladium in Hollywood and how he would wear his leotards backwards so that his little chest could be exposed. And Dave was a trip, just his whole vernacular, everything he said, how he said it. I just was so enamored with it. I thought he was so cool. And then over the years, as I got older, I would, go on to meet other gay men, but not too many, not at the era that I was growing up in, right? Nowadays, people are more open, people feel more free, and I love that. I love that people feel more, and I can't say safe because a lot of LGBTQ people feel like they are not safe. So, but I just feel like they're more accepted these days, and I like that for them. But when I was growing up, you didn't see a lot of gay people, right? So I think that was another reason why I had an affinity for gay men because you just didn't meet people who were openly gay at the time. So when I did have that chance, I just loved them. And then when I began to work with gay boys, younger Black men, and they would always be like, "Oh, you should wear these type of jeans," because I would wear apple bottom jeans. And they would be like, "Oh, you should get you some True Religions." And I'm like, "What is True Religion?" I didn't know that brand at the time. But I would just get fashion advice for the younger boys, and they would just be so cute. And I just always thought, "Oh wow, these kids are really cool," right? So I never had an issue with gay people as a whole. I never felt like, "Oh, you're going to hell. Oh, you're going to do this." Oh, I've never felt like that. And I know that some women do feel like that if they're heavily into the church. And I could see why gay men would feel some type of way with the Black church or whatever. But I don't feel that way. I have family members who are gay or what, maybe I should say lesbian. And I'm like, I don't feel like they're going to hell any more than I am. I feel like there is no sin worse than the other, and God will show them the same grace that He's shown me. Or, if you believe something different, that's on you. But I don't believe like because somebody is gay, that means they are automatically going to hell. I don't believe that. And I also don't believe that because someone is gay, they are worse than somebody else, or that their feet should be held to the fire or to this higher standard when nobody else is doing that. Women are having children out of wedlock. Men are having relations outside of marriage, and they're not being condemned. Heck, people are harming children, and nobody is saying anything. So why would you begrudge adults who aren't bothering anybody from doing what it is they want to do? I don't. have an issue with men who are into that lifestyle. I don't have a problem with that at all. However, I do not choose to date men who would sleep with another man. So anybody who's gay or bisexual in the chat, if you would like to share your experiences or your reactions to anything that I'm saying, please let me know. Alpha, the first one, he says he voted number 2. He doesn't believe that Black women are homophobic, and I thank you for being one of our allies because we get it coming and going. It's like men, no matter if they're gay or straight, they're always coming for Black women, and I hate that for us. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I know that as a woman, one reason why I would be hesitant about dating a bisexual or down low man is because um, it's easier for men in the lifestyle to get HIV. And I know people say, "Oh, they protect themselves more," but women don't pass that, and that's something that men pass to one another. From my research, a woman can give like HIV to a man, but it is much harder for her to do so. So, in my mind, not all LGBTQ men get that, but there's a lot of them who do. And usually, when they go between men and women, the woman ends up getting it. Not every time, but sometimes. Obviously, not every time, because, like I said, there are women who are dating down low men and they know or they don't know. And, you know, but then that's how they find out, right? When they find out they have HIV. So that's one of my, and maybe it's a misconception. Maybe it doesn't happen as often as I'm thinking it does. But I've read the research on it and I will go to it right now. Hey, Reba, thanks for tuning in with me. And I will give you guys the statistics on uh let me see. I'm going to go to research the prevalence. Okay, we're going to look at the prevalence of HIV in Black women. Black women in the United States have a significantly, higher rate of HIV infection compared to other racial and ethnic groups. In 2022, Black women accounted for 50%. 50%. That means we are more likely to get HIV than Latinos, Asians, whites, than everybody. We are more likely to account for HIV diagnosis than any other women. And we're only 13% of the population. So about 19 per 100,000 compared to 1.9 per 100,000. Like that's like 10 times the amount of white women and about 8 times that Hispanic women. Black women are also more likely to live with HIV with a prevalence rate of 1150 to 100. Okay. Why do Black women have higher rates of HIV? Social and structural factors such as poverty, lack of access to healthcare, and stigma, um, relational behaviors. I'm not going to say the S word, including having multiple partners and engaging in unprotected what? That's what they said about black women having multiple partners and engaging in unprotected. Now that's a new one. Having multiple partners and engaging in multiple and unprotected. I've never heard that. Higher rates of STDs, lack of access to PrEP. I've never heard that's why black women were getting it because they had multiple partners. That's new. Um, let's look that up. So we're going to go to the National Library of Medicine. We're going to look at their stats. Okay. Mhm. So I'm just reading through this really quick. Multiple factors contribute to the elevated rates among Black women. Three major categories: their partner characteristics and socioeconomic factors. They're saying drug use, crack cocaine use, having concurrent relationships, meaning multiple partners, not communicating and reporting prior incarceration. 89% of new diagnoses were transmitted via heterosexual contact. This is like blaming a lot of it on women when this doesn't coincide with how Black women get it. So they're changing this up. They're changing up the narrative. But they're saying that it has been reported that African Americans are at increased risk of HIV infection, even when their behaviors are consistent with other racial groups. Furthermore, it has been reported that differences in partners and relationships do not explain the disparities. Hmm, this is odd. So let's see. Um, so we're going to look at how women are getting it, and they're usually getting it from a male partner. That's the most common way, from their partner. But they don't want to tell why Black women are at higher risk. And it used to be because of down low men, but they're not saying that anymore. Huh. It says Black women who become infected with, they actually have fewer sexual partners, and they are more likely to use and yet are more likely to be. It says we are more likely to have less partners, use more protection, and we still get it more. So why is that? It says in the United States, as quiet as it's kept, 1 in 5 HIV infections occurs amongst women, and the majority of those women are Black women. 1 in 5 is a big amount. That's 20%. That's a lot of women. They said when you compare white women and black women actually have fewer partners. We are more likely to use protection and yet still become infected with HIV. So why is that? But they're saying probably because the population is already high and they're, pushing this prep stuff. Have you guys heard of prep stuff? But anyway, I think um I think it's harder for black women to give, for women as a whole to give HIV to men. I think that it's more difficult. So let's look at that statistic. It says yes, women can. The risk of a man getting HIV from a woman is lower than the risk of a woman getting it from a man. However, it is still possible. How likely is it for a woman to give it to a man? 0.04%. They're not talking about that either, though. They're saying something different even about that. They said women who have relations with other women only, it is rare for them to transfer the three letters. Obviously, if the woman has it, she can pass it to another woman. But if they don't have it or whatever, it's hard for them to get it. It's hard for a woman to pass it to another woman. But the literature I have read about it says that it is harder for a woman to give it to a man. So that's basically, but yes, it's like presumed to be quite rare for a woman to give it to men, unless, not from, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if a woman just has relations with a man and she doesn't have it, or if she does have it, it's still hard for her to give it to a man. It's easier. It's like 38%, a 38% chance for a man to give it to a woman, and it's a 0.04% chance for a woman to give it to a man. So that's the difference. So I think that's why, one of the reasons why women don't want to sleep with bisexual men, because they feel like they will increase their risk of getting HIV. I think that's one of the top reasons. And then number two, women don't want women who don't choose to sleep with bisexual men, they don't want to do so because they may feel like their man is more feminine and maybe they want a more masculine man. If that's not your answer, please let me know in the chat. But I agree with that. And I was joking earlier about I would want to date a bi man. I would, though, kind of, because I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds. I'm always saying something crazy, but I do think about it in those terms. Like I would have a friend who would give me fashion advice, who would keep it real with me, and who I could have fun with. Also, I just would like to know, how it would be to date someone who is bi. And I know that sounds crazy. Not at all, Lisa. You're right on time. We're just getting started because I'm just trying to go through the statistics and all of that. And let me know if you guys disagree with anything I'm saying. I'm not the expert on this subject right now, but I'm just trying to, have a conversation about it because it does matter to me that people are going around saying that, well, gay people feel like Black women are homophobic. I don't agree with that at all. I just feel like we have our preferences, like they have their preferences, but I feel like we have also been a very strong advocate for them for the most part. Now, a lot of Black women are Christians, right? So that can go into play with a lot of how people view LGBTQ people, right? And I think that is probably a little bit of a problem for gay folks when they have to deal with family members who are judging them. I think that may be a lot of it too. Like if a mother has a gay son, maybe they'll feel like they disappointed their mom or their mother is judging them or something like that. I think that may have an issue. That may be an issue for someone who is gay. Also, um, but I would think in my mind, I would feel like gay men would have more of an issue with other men or Black men being more homophobic than Black women. I don't understand why this sudden attack on Black women. Why are you feeling like Black women of all people are against you? You know what I mean? So, and again, if anybody would like to join the panel, the link is in the chat and you may do so. So, just as long as you are respectful of everyone and you don't get up here and say anything too crazy. Now, where were we? I feel like even if Black women don't feel like they are being judgmental or homophobic, I think that the key is to still be understanding and to still ask questions. Because I know sometimes Black women use gay men as an accessory, as the fun, as okay, the one with all the quips, and they use their lingo and they use them again, like I said, as their sounding board. Does this look cute? How do I look in this? What do you think of my man? Is he gay? Do you think my man would sleep with you? Different things like that. And I know that if it was me, I would want to feel like I was a person and not like a prop, right? So I can understand how that could be problematic for somebody who is a part of the LGBTQ community. I do understand that. Now, I feel like homophobia is putting it a little bit too harsh. You don't think people are ready for this topic at all? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, this is a lot for people to talk about. It is a hard subject and it is a touchy subject, right? But what do you think? Why do you think people think that Black women are homophobic, Mama Three? And do you agree with that statement? I've already brought up the subject that Black women may feel a fear of betrayal and safety concerns when it comes to their health. And I just feel like maybe women may feel like, well, if he wants a man, then what can I do for him? Like, how can he be attracted to me if he's attracted to men? Because I've heard, uh, not, and this doesn't apply to everyone, but I've seen situations where a man may say homophobic in a relationship or friends, just I guess just against gays in general. Like they feel some gays feel like black women are homophobic, that they only really want them around as an accessory, and that they feel threatened by them or um and I and that's why I wanted to hear from a gay person, like, why do you feel that way? Why do you feel that black women are homophobic? I've heard things like black women are unaccepting bisexual men, so um we need to support them more. And I just like, huh? Like, why would we want to compete with another? We already got to compete with other women for our men. Why would we want to compete with men too? And why is it an issue if we don't want to date men who date men? Or if we don't want to date men who would date um, a transgender? Why is that an issue? How come we can't say what we want, but other people can? I don't know in general because I know plenty that have gay friends. I mean, I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't have a problem with being friends with gay people. I don't have a problem with gay people dating each other. I don't have a problem with that at all. But my man, I want to date a straight man. Does that make me homophobic because I don't want to date or be married to a bisexual man or a man who would sleep with a transgender woman? Does that make me homophobic? Just in my mind, if he would do those things, and I feel like that's who he's attracted to. Like he's not attracted to women. Would I date a transgender? Like a transgender, uh, I don't know why they're hiding that. Um, do you mean would I date a transgender man, like a woman who became a man? Or do you mean like a man who was a woman? No, I would not date either. Um, no. I would want to date a man who was born a man. No, I would want to date a man who was born a man. And that's just my preference. For a lot of reasons. Um, I mean, and I would know. I would know because it's always in the eyes, right? Um, and I know that that's an issue for some people because they feel like, okay, it's not about what I was born as or what I was known as, it's what I am today. And no, that's not my preference. I don't choose to date that. Would you date a transgender man? I don't choose to do that. And I feel like I have a right because that's like asking, and that's where I'd have the issue because if you throw that right back their way, and if you ask a transgender man, okay, do you want to date a transgender woman? Some have done it. Some have done that. Hey Sage, thanks for tuning in. Some have dated some trans. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not homophobic because I choose not to date transgender men. That's not my preference. My preference is a man who was born straight or born a man. right? And I think that's an issue for people too, because they want this acceptance. I accept that you are down in a different body and you want to be treated differently. I accept that. I accept that you may have changed your name. You may have changed, you know, what you were working with, and that's fine. You know what? I'm curious about that. I'm curious about how that will work, how that would feel. Like, would you get down like with both of them? Would you party like that? Would you do that? Like, have anybody ever thought of that before? Is that too much? Is that too risque? Is what do you guys feel about that? And I don't know why my mind has went there, but I have thought about that. It's too risky for you. Okay, but what if you have protection and all of that and all of that? What if you are um there's no kids in here with me, by the way. Um what and I don't believe they can hear what I'm saying. What if you everybody was protected, everybody had been tested, nobody has anything going on? Would you do it? Would that be the only issue that prevented you from going there? Is that you felt like, wait a minute, what if I get this or that? If you didn't have to worry about that, if everybody had been tested, everybody was good to go, protection was in place, would that be something that you would want to do? Okay, Sage still says no, ma'am. I mean, put a one in the chat if you feel like, put a one in the chat if you feel like you have already been with a man who was into men. If you ever suspected that. I actually suspected that with, I want to say two people. Two people. One person, I strongly believe that. And that was because of their mannerisms. But as I got to know them, they didn't seem like that anymore. But somebody, but other people thought that about them too. Lisa, you don't think that you have been? Like other people that knew this person that I was with years ago, they had came up with that they were that way too. They said that about them. So I don't know. I never caught them. So, and again, I have the chat, I have the link pinned in the comments. Anybody want to come up and talk about it? You don't have to show your face or anything. Oh, so you didn't know it. And that person I did. And then I'm going to say this other person, and this is what, and tell me if you would have suspected this as well. So this other person I dated, he was hyper masculine, right? However, very homophobic, like very. Like he would say like the most volatile things about members of the LGBTQ community. All right. So whenever they say whenever somebody is like that, chances are whenever somebody is real homophobic like that, chances are they are actually attracted to men. So I felt like, that piqued my interest, like maybe he likes men. But this is what really had me thinking it. He had this friend, this person I know he had this friend, and he told me the story of how his friend, and again, his friend was also hyper masculine. So, and when I say hyper masculine, I mean that they present as hetero, and you would think that they only liked women, both of these guys. So, but he didn't tell me they had anything going or that they experimented or anything like that. But what he did tell me is about this so-called friend of his. And mind you, I had like a glimpse, like I'm gonna call it like a aura. Like I had a feeling like because the way they would acquiesce to this dude, like the dude was kind of telling them what to do a little bit. I don't know if he was scared of them or if he I don't know, but it didn't feel like it was like kosher on that. And it was like he was trying to tell him what to do. And like this dude was listening. So I was like, that's weird. But what ended up happening, excuse me, guys, I'm a little sleepy, so I'm slurring my speech a little bit more than usual. But what ended up happening is he came to me and told me how dude and him went to this guy's house. And this guy was actually uh like Leo, like law enforcement, right? And so what he said is that the guy was like playing the guy, right? Like he wasn't doing anything with him, but the guy would give him money and he would like punk the guy or whatever. I'm like, what? And he said, but he went upstairs with the guy and left him downstairs by himself for a long time. And that just seemed really odd to me. Like, why would he leave you downstairs by yourself? And you didn't think anything was going on upstairs? And he just said, he said the guy just went upstairs with the other guy, but the guy was treating the other guy like kind of rude, like he was kind of punking him. And I was like, wow, you know, here you are, you're supposed to be so hyper masculine, so anti, LGBTQ, and yet your friend, you went with him to a man's house so that he could get the money from the man. And the guy was um LGBTQ, not the friend, but the guy they were going to see, and he was basically like punking him out of his money. But they went upstairs by themselves. I thought that was crazy. So in my mind, I'm like, if your boyfriend came home to you or your man came home to you and told you that he was with his friend and this went down, like his friend wasn't supposed to be that way, but he was pretending to be that way because this guy was paying him money, but they wasn't really doing anything. And he was there too. They went upstairs by themselves. I always felt like, yeah, that's crazy, right, Lisa? I was like, I always felt some way about that. But like I said, this guy never presented like he was that way to me. He never, the one thing I will say is he was very comfortable around men. He loved to be around men. And there's some guys that they always want to be with the homies and things like that. Like it always felt like he was more comfortable when he was around other guys. So I don't know. I didn't think so either, but I don't know. I never had proof. And he didn't have to tell me that story. He just kind of told me that on his own. Like he would he said he just happened to go with the guy to this other male's house. And when he got there, this unfolded. And I'm like, well, you were still friends with him after that, right? He was still friends with the guy after that. And the way he would go on and on about, LGBTQ people, that just made me always suspect that he could be that way too. So outside of those two guys, I never had uh, I never automatically thought like, okay, somebody I'm dating is possibly like that. And like I said, if I dated someone and I knew that they like to be with men too, that would be one thing. But if I don't know and I don't choose to date someone that is, I feel like it's being extremely dishonest. And then this person's podcast that I was watching, he said, well, and I'll just tell you guys, I was watching Armand Wiggins, and he said, well, that's the reason why men lie to you guys, because you guys are so homophobic. You make us feel like we have to lie. But why would you have to lie to me if you like men? Why would I care? if I'm not dating you, I don't care who you date. I've been watching the DL Whisperer. I watch his mannerisms. I watch men mannerisms. I think sometimes you can tell like that, but sometimes, like I said, this guy that I was dating, one of the guys I was dating, he said, one time he said, "How we doing?" And I thought he was gay automatically. So imagine my surprise when he actually was trying to get with me. And this was like years ago. And then after that, one time he was like, I was just being friendly. I was like, well, why would you say, how we doing? That sounded so like, why did I date him for a long time too? I was so weird for that. But and then that same guy, years later, somebody told me that he had tried to approach them, but I didn't want to believe it because it just seemed like so out of left field, like I hadn't heard it. And he told me it was actually his brother who was not sugar britches. But I feel like sometimes it happens in families, like if the brother is, and usually both brothers are, like it doesn't really happen like that where only one person is. I don't know why, but it's like if the mother or the father is, and one of their children will be, if a sibling is, and then the other sibling will be, which again, I don't have an issue with at all. I don't have an issue with that at all. If one of my children were to come to me, and I always joke like that with them, because sometimes they'll go through their tomboy stage, and I'm like, "Oh, you like girls or whatever?" Like, why would you ask me that? Or why does it matter? My kids get real like indignant with me sometimes when I ask certain questions, but I don't care. I'm just asking and leaving that door open so that if they are and they feel like they want to have a way to express themselves, they don't have to feel like they can't. And I tell them that so that they can feel like they have somebody that they can trust and whom loves them. And I'll give them that right and that space to do that. Um, I don't have any preference in who they love. That's on them, you know. Both your sisters are? See, I know sisters who are like that. Like one of them was for a long time and the other one was with a woman. I mean, was with they both have children by men. They both have children by men. And then all of a sudden later on, one of them starts dating women for a long time. And then the sister started dating women too. I know a mother and two daughters, they're all like that. Like she has children, but the mom was bi, and then her daughter was all the way, and then her other daughter was bi too. So it happens. And like I said, that's their preference, but it's also my preference not to want to date somebody like that. And like I say, I am curious about certain things, but that's as far as it goes. I think if I was actually in that type of situation, I probably would be a coward about it. I don't know. But that's not something I'm thinking about. So it's neither here nor there. I just, I think it's more like a fantasy than anything. So yeah. Um, how would you say the media or past trauma shaped your views about um dating a bisexual or a down low man? Did you see Tammy Roman said her daughter girlfriend can? Yeah, that was so weird. Like, you know, Tammy's a part of Hollywood. I'm sure she has been around many LGBTQ. And then not only that, I'm sure she works with someone who is that right now. And I just question like her how smart she is, because why would you say that so openly? Like Hollywood is a wrong place. You want to be anti uh LGBTQ. Like I expect her to lose jobs after saying stuff like that. Because one thing about them, they do stick together. But I don't know. I don't think it's about I think my concerns are mostly wrapped around just like feeling like, is my man? Like, I think I would feel the same way if it was another woman involved, but probably not as much. I would just feel like, okay, he likes men, he don't like me. That's how I would feel about it. And like down low, how I feel about down low men is I feel like they should come and be open with it. Like we live in a different time nowadays, and there's no reason for anybody to feel like they have to hide who they are. Hey Sherry, how are you tonight? Sherry, would you date a bi man or someone who is transgender? Weigh in. Let us know what's good. I've already said earlier today and just now that I was curious about it. That doesn't mean that I would do it. I'm just very curious about it. Jerry says, "No, I'm good." But I think I've heard the conversation before that black women are so anti-bi that, but if we were more accepting of bi men, then heterosexual men would accept them more. But why do we need even one more person to compete with? We already have to compete with everybody for let me say quote unquote our men, and now we have to compete with other men too. That's not cool. If my man wants to be with a man, then I feel like he doesn't want to be with me, and I can't change that feeling, and I won't change that feeling. Now I have to ask this question: if you are married or dating someone, lady, and you find out that he experimented with another man, would you still want to date him? Like it was only a one-time thing in college. Perhaps they were dating and or not dating even. Or maybe they had a dating relationship. I know someone who was like that. And I could see just from the person's picture, no, he is gay. I could see just from the picture, never met him, just seen from the picture. I'm like, oh no, he is gay. And so I guess they told the friend that, look, I've been with a man before, but I like women and I want to marry you and all of this. And so they dated the guy, and the whole family was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This man, they got the impression that he liked men. Everybody knew except that person. And so finally, the guy did come back to them, or finally they found out that, I guess because the boyfriend said they had just experimented with the man, but I guess finally the woman found out that it was a full blown relationship with the man, and they were very upset about that. I think so too. I think so too, because who was it, that senator, or he was running for senator? I can't think of his name right now, but they caught him. If you guys know his name, put it in the chat. They called this man a black guy, and he was married to a black woman. They had two children, I believe, two girls. This was in Florida, and they caught him in a hotel getting high with two men, and they were his lovers. And so everybody felt really bad for the wife, right? But the wife stuck by her husband and ended up saying she knew he was like that. But what does that have to do with cheating? You know, cheating is cheating no matter who you like. But a lot of women, they call these lavender marriages. A lot of women like Star Jones. Remember how Star Jones was with Al Reynolds? Al Reynolds said he told her he liked men, and she tried to act like she did not know that. But Al said he told her from jump, look, I've had prior history with men, and she still married him. But that didn't end up lasting. He said he didn't care that she was overweight and blah blah blah. Al turned out to be very well spoken. What happened to Al? Does he have his own podcast? But yeah, I remember thinking that was another person. I was like, nah, he is not straight. Like, how could she not see that? I just looked at him and knew, like, mm-mm, there's no way you don't know that this man is not straight. And I guess he finally came out and said that he wasn't. Star was thirsty as hell. She was overweight, and and then finally she lost the weight, and she wanted a man. Liza Minnelli, Liza Minnelli married like two men who were like that, but then she was on Broadway. But one of her men ended up sleeping with her father. She called her man with her father, which was cray. I agree, Sage. I believe that some women will know that their man likes men and they don't have a problem with it, but to each their own. Some women like this like that guy that was running for office in Florida. He went to school with his wife. They had two children. He seemed quite masculine. So when it came to protecting her and providing for her, he could definitely do that. Some women may like to, oh, Star, real name is Starletta, friends with her family. Is she, drop the T, Starletta. I like that name. I know a Starletta. Drop the T, Sherry. Don't be stingy. Drop the T. Listen, some women are perfectly okay knowing that their man is not physically attracted to them in that way and that he may go out and do other things. They may have to turn their head, but as long as they are getting provided for, as long as he can protect them, as long as he's a good father, right? Then they don't mind it. And you know what? I can't get mad at that because if your hope is to be married and have a family, and you have this person that's willing to give you babies and he's willing to, go on vacations with you and take care of you as his wife, um, no harm, no foul if you don't have a problem with his lifestyle. I would have a problem with it, but if you don't, or if a woman doesn't, that's on her. Sage said, mm-hmm. What about Chris Jenner? She says she didn't know, but Bruce said that when he got with her, he already had B cup breasts because he had started transitioning when he met her, and he was already dressing like a woman when he would go to. They say in the 80s that the Inquirer actually had the tip. They already caught him dressing as a woman and going to hotel lobby, but they didn't report it. Right. Star sure did not marry a regular man. And the second time she didn't marry, well, the first time she did marry someone who was black, but I guess I don't know what you mean by regular. Chris absolutely knew because Bruce, he married the first wife thinking that he could change. Then he married the second wife. And I guess he went to a therapist and they told him that he would not feel better about himself until he transitioned. But I feel like what Chris really wanted was just probably to dress up or whatever. And I think he would have been fine with that. But they did tell him at that time that he should transition, and he actually started transitioning in the 80s. But then I guess he didn't, want to go through with it at that time. And so then later on, he decided to marry Chris. And I feel like she knew if she saw those B cups, she knew that. He said she knew, but he said that he was over it and he didn't want to transition any longer. So, but if somebody actually started the process of becoming a woman and I saw he had B cup breasts, I'm headed for the hills. Hey, Ready Rocks. Thanks for tuning in. Roxy, I have to ask you the question, and I already know you're going to holler at me. So if you're going to holler at me, hit that link. Hit the link. Hit the link and holler at me up here. But Roxy, she didn't invite her family to her wedding to Al. Get out of here. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But I'm going to be honest with you, Sherry. If I get married today, I would probably invite my mom, my kids, and my grandmother, and probably my stepdad and my biological father. Outside of that, oh, my nieces. I have three nieces, three or four nieces. I would invite. Hmm. I'm not inviting everybody because I don't like them like that. So why would I pay for their meal or why would I have them at my wedding and I don't like them like that? Siblings included. I don't like y'all. But knowing me at the time, if I actually did, get married, I would still invite them. If they didn't show up, they didn't show up. No, I'm not inviting them. If I still don't like them, I love them. But if I still don't like them, they're not coming. And that's just that. Nobody has to come to your wedding. Your wedding, that day that you're getting married, it's supposed to be a day that's special, that's filled with love. And I wouldn't want to have somebody who I didn't get along with or who I didn't feel like loved me and supported me. I won't want you there on my big day. That could have been why, I used to think about family like, oh, family comes before anything. Family, blood is thicker than water. I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like family is the people that love you and care about you. And if somebody doesn't love and care about you, why would you have them there on your special day? I don't know. But Al didn't love and care about her either, but he was there. So, I digress. I digress. Mhm. But yeah. What you about, Sage? Let me see what else I got on my notes. Did I forget anything before I wrap it up? Do you feel like you can truly trust a man who has been with other men before you? Do you feel like you can trust him? And when I say trust him, not like he would bring you a disease or anything. I mean, as far as if you were to date a bi man, not saying you specifically, let's just say hypothetically. Look at you, Sage, already like, nope. Do you feel like your orientation dictate your loyalty? Because just because somebody is attracted to the opposite, that doesn't mean that they're going to go cheat with them. Y'all said no. You said you can't trust them. I know that's right. I would always have in the back of my mind that he wants to be with a man. He wants to be with a man, and I'm not really pleasing him. Hmm. But In both such situations that I was in like that, um, I would say they both had some weirdnesses about them when it came to, like, I don't know, they both was weird. I won't say how. I won't say how because it's actually a little embarrassing. That's always the sentiment, Sage. I cannot compete with the man. Rossi said that's double-minded. But do you feel like women are more accepted when they say that they want both a man and a woman? Do you think that society sees it as more acceptable? Hey, Las Vegas interviews. Good evening. How are you? Or do you feel like it's the same thing? I definitely feel like it's the same thing. I mean, like women are more accepted. Like if a woman does it, then it's like, okay, ooh, that's cool, right? So yeah. With swingers, did I know before or after I was in a relationship, Sherry? I suspected that with the first one, I suspected right away, but I never caught either of them in anything. And what about swingers, Roxy? But when I got with the other guy, I didn't expect the other guy at all until he told me that story. And until he was friends with this guy. And I thought that friend was being very territorial. I thought he was being very possessive. You went through that before? OMG, tell us about it because that's what I want to hear. Like, I don't know. I always want to hear about stories of women who found out that their man was cheating with other men. We better run if we suspect our man of going that way. I mean, I feel like we live in a different date and time. I feel like more people are. I feel like people are mostly honest about their orientation. I really do. I feel like people don't hide it as much. I know some people still do, uh, for whatever reason. People warned you. You want to come up to the panel and talk about it, Las Vegas? I did. Let me see. I will pin it again. And you don't have to turn on your camera or anything if you don't want to. You can just come up and talk about your experience. Hmm. What else was I going to say? I was about to say something else. That's another thing too. Like sometimes we may not be able to see it, but our friends see it. So I just dropped the link. Didn't I just drop it? I thought I just dropped the link. What happened? Okay. Okay, there it is, Las Vegas interviews. And you can turn off your camera if you want to. You don't have to have it on. And I'll add you to the studio. I see 15 people in the chat. Do I have 15 likes though? Do I have 15 likes though, guys? I also set a goal. So if you were here for last week's story time, I'm gonna do another story time. So if I get 10 um super chats, I will do another story time. More than likely, probably tomorrow night. The last one I did was really kind of raunchy. So if you have iPhones, it's a little bit harder to get up here for some reason. I don't know why. I have 20 likes. Yay. Thank you guys for the 20 likes. That's what's up. If you just got here, oh, you couldn't do it because you have iPhone. Yeah, it's hard for to do it with the iPhone. I don't know why, but when people have an iPhone, they can't come up. hmm Roxy, do you know what that's about? If people can get on StreamYard with iPhone, the money getters don't play. You guys are in the house. We got Sherry, we got Rox, we got M3. That's so dope. That's what's up. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. So try to tell us in the chat if you can't come up. Oh, you always find it easier on the laptop? I'm going to start doing it on my laptop. Yeah. I'm going to start doing it on my laptop. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate you. That's so dope. Thank you, M3, for the mommy money getter super. Let me put some in here for the mommy money getter emojis. That's what's up. I gotta put more emojis in the now that we have more people. It's better on the laptop because I've been trying to set different things up. And I guess it's like Canva. Canva used to be like that where you can set stuff up. I think I want to set some other things up because I would go live more, but I don't know. Absolutely, Sherry. I appreciate all of the money getters for coming out a second time tonight. I know it's late. I know you guys have work in the morning, but we're about to wrap it up. Everybody, it's been a long weekend. I know it's been a long weekend for me too. These kids have been driving me crazy. I've been doing a lot of running around, a lot of shopping. I finally said, oh, hell no. When I got to spending too much money, I said, That's the real reason why I was also like, no, I don't want a rental car because if I get a rental car, I'm going to be spending a lot more money. Not just on a rental, but also on just, doing stuff. I'm like, no, let me go home and sit myself down somewhere. Uh-uh. No, no, no. You know. But I thought this was a good live to have and talk to people about because it's always good to get other people's opinions on a matter. And like I said, I don't feel like I'm homophobic, and I would be interested in finding out why gay men feel like Black women are. Oh, he was in prison. He was in prison. How long was he in prison for? Las Vegas interviews. Oh yeah, they say if a man has spent, but I know a lot of men who start sleeping with the women in there. They have a woman, one of the COs, and that's who they start sleeping with. Not all men sleep with other men. Some men sleep with the female guards. I know that for a fact. I know somebody who married a female guard for over 5 years. Oh, I told my story. Oh, they were in there for over 5 years. Um, my story, I just suspected that they were from what they told me, but I never caught them or, like the second one, I never caught them with the man. I just felt like the friendship that he had with the man, it just seemed like that man was kinda possessive and like he would try to tell him what to do. And he was like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." Like he was listening, like he was trying to calm him down, like he didn't want me to see or notice he was eating cheese. That's how I felt about it. I felt like, something might be going on. And then later on, the guy told me, "Hey, look, this is what happened. He had me go with him to one of his male friends' house. Turns out the guy is, um, gay, and he said he was just playing him, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's always scary. But like with men, they play those type of games. You said you do too, but he also slept with the man. Sherry, who? Sherry, who was doing that? Yeah, but I remember my mom told me about these neighbors of ours, and I knew they were I knew they were on that stuff. But what I didn't know is that the woman used to set her man up with other men and have him sleeping with men so that they could get drugs. When I tell you I've lived a colorful life, like you just never know. And I was like, my mom never told me because I was a kid, obviously, and I was too young. I don't think my mom told me about that story until I was in my 40s. Hmm. And then I've heard stories about men who have many children and uh, they would go in and then I, man, let me just say, man, I've heard lots of stories about other people's men. One of my cousins was, Sherry says one of her cousins was in prison. He married a prison worker, but he also slept. Oh, he still was with the males. That is crazy. So he married a woman when he came home, but he still was in there with the males. How didn't she know that? You didn't know much about it? I knew about it. I knew about gay men and I didn't really have a lot of experience with women who were, but I had experience with men who were. Mm, I don't know how I would feel about that though. If I found out this guy Armand, he was telling a story time about when he went to jail, maybe he had did some fraud or something, and he said that all the good looking men were in there. He said all the good big D men are in there, are locked up. That's number one. But he said that on his last day, getting ready to get released, he was in a holding cell with this guy who was going to court. I think he went to court and the guy was going to court. But the guy just found out that he was getting 30 years and the guy had a girlfriend. And day one, he said the guy tried to get him to do something with him. Day one. Hadn't even been in there that long, but he got like 30 years and he had a woman. You watch Armand? He told this story, like he did a story time about his time in jail, like if you ever get a chance. But the other night, did you watch Armand when he was talking about black women who are homophobic? And then he had this girl on there named Paris, who in my mind is a pick me. She's always going against the grain or always trying to sound extra smart or like she knows something. But I feel like, why are you throwing us under the bus trying to get a look? Don't try to get a look with Armand talking about we are homophobic because that couldn't be further from the truth. I don't care how many gay men feel like we are like one of their biggest allies. Yeah, I think it came on Friday. We always have their back. Yeah, but it's on there. Definitely their biggest supporters. Definitely their biggest supporters. I mean, we get our hair done by them, but they say, well, when it comes to your hair and makeup, yeah. When it comes to your fashion, yes. But no, we like them too. We like being friends with them. Like, I think every woman wants a male gay best friend. I don't know why. Not just because we want to fetish fetishize them or because we see them as an accessory, not because of any of those reasons. I like them because I think they're cool. I think they're cool. I think it's so dope, especially when they're carefree and they live out loud. I think it's inspiring. I really do. But I do understand though how gay men can feel like they're shamed in the black community by the church and by other men. I do understand how our relationship with religion can have a big impact on them because Christians, like I said earlier, we are heavily into religion and everybody feels like if you're gay, you're going to burn in hell. I don't feel like that. And I don't feel like I need to uh, push that narrative out there. I feel like that's something that enough people have said, and I don't need to do that. You know, this is the first time you're coming. You don't have anything to be embarrassed about. I feel like a lot of people take a chance on love on people in prisons, but it is risky. But you took a chance on love and it didn't work out. And I just hope that, you got over the heartbreak just like with any other thing. I feel like religion, um, people are really I think they use it to bash gay people because if people were really concerned about religion, be concerned with it on every aspect. Be concerned with religion when it comes to women having children out of wedlock, when it comes to men committing adultery. Defer to the Bible in those aspects too. Don't just try to hold gay people to a certain standard when everybody else is doing everything under the sun. That's how I feel about it. I don't know. But I definitely feel like some people are zealots and they feel like you should do everything to the letter of the Bible, even if they don't always do it. They want to hold people to this higher standard. And, I don't think that LGBTQ people should even adhere to that. If people feel like that, they feel like that. But I wouldn't let it make or break me, nor would I allow it to change. If you are gay and you have a relationship with God, I wouldn't let it change how I view myself or or the relationship that I have with God. I just wouldn't. Okay, we got one more segment. Solutions. I feel like we can be more empathetic, even if we don't agree or always feel like we're in the wrong. We can still listen and still give gay people the space to be able to talk and express themselves, no matter if we think what they're saying about us is true or not. Um, how can we love and support each other? Like I said, by listening, by hearing each other out. And what do you guys think real acceptance would look like for gay people? Because I feel like in my mind, it's not enough that we accept them or that we um, support them. I think they want us to always agree with the lifestyle, and I don't know, maybe they want hookups. Maybe they want us to hook them up with somebody. I don't know. Like, I think they want us to tell our men it's okay to date them. I don't know if I could do that at all. Anybody have any final thoughts or who wants to come up and wrap this up, or are we all good? Did everybody hit the like button? Replay game, thank you for tuning in. I try to give a little bit of supporting evidence with this. I know I probably said some things earlier as far as how women get HIV that I wasn't really clear on. So do your research and validate everything I said on your own, because I could be saying anything. You should do that anyway. Right. All religions feel that way. Muslims don't support that either. Oh, wow. Oh, your family was very judgmental. Was they judgmental because they felt like, okay, you were with this man and he turned out to be gay? Or was you accepting of him? Did you accept him and they didn't? Was he only gay for the stay? Or was he gay, like gay even once he got out? Or was he just gay in there and once he came home, he wasn't? Well, basically, I was saying that I felt like it's harder for women to it's harder for women to give men HIV than it is for women to give HIV to men. Oh, you never accepted. Oh, he was actually bi. Oh, he was bi. Oh, okay. So he liked men and women. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know if I could have accepted that either, because men are already going to cheat anyway. And then now he's just going to be cheating with men and women. So now you got to compete with the men and you got to compete with the women. So, yep, I respect that. Not trying to be, stereotypical, but I feel like that. So, okay, so we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Replay game, thank you for watching all the way through. Please leave a comment, or if you have questions, please leave them as well, and I will try to answer as best I can. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope you guys wake up on time for work, because some of you guys are 2 hours away, some of you guys are 3 hours away. But like I said, if you feel like I didn't say something correctly tonight, please address it in the comments. I'm not trying to offend anyone, just trying to get to a deeper level of understanding. I feel like I'm not problematic when it comes to accepting others, or I don't feel like I'm homophobic at all. And like I said, I don't think most Black women are. I feel like we love you all and we support you all, and that's all that matters. Okay. Oh, you left them? Good night, Lisa. Good night, Las Vegas interviews. Good night. We got to revisit that because I want to hear your story. I really want to hear your story. We didn't reach the super chat goal, but thank you, Sherry, for the super sticker. I really appreciate that as well. Big money getter, big money spender. Have a good night, everybody.